Hello, stamping friends. Welcome to the May online technique class with Sharon Armstrong. We're going to be doing watercoloring techniques in this series. In your card kit, you have all the pieces that you need to complete the card. On this card, I did some embossing with white embossing powder. And then I started doing my watercoloring. Now, for the sake of the video, time's sake, I have already embossed some flowers and leaves on my shimmery white cardstock. The shimmery white cardstock and the watercolor paper from Stampin' Up! Are the two best things to use, and those are the types of papers that you received in your May kit. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already put some reinkers in the lids of my stamp pads, and I have a bottle of, it's an old Stampin' Mist bottle that I wrote water on it, and I just keep water in it all the time in my craft room. I have some paper towels down to protect my surface, and I'm going to just spritz my water onto my paper, and I'm getting it very wet. So wet that you can almost see the water running around. And we're just going to come in just a little bit. I want you to be able to see what it does. I'm using Aquapainters, and when you get the Aquapainters, there's two in a kit. So I want to use the green first, and I'm just picking up, let me just show you, I'm just picking up, I've got my, let me just show you, let me back up one more step. On the Aquapainters, you're going to fill this up with water, and then I just squeeze that bulb to make sure that my tip is wet. The wetter the tip, the better for this technique. Okay, so see how wet my card is? It's okay. Just kind of, I'm going to kind of push it down so that I have a flatter surface. So I stamped some leaves and embossed them. And so I'm just touching where the leaves are, but it really doesn't matter. I wanted both colors to be on this. When I'm done with my Aquapainter, while I'm going to switch colors, I'm going to go ahead and just drop it in a container of water that I have on my desk. And then I'm going to pick up, this next color I'm picking up is Rich Razzleberry. And this flower is a very bold embossed flower. So that's why it's not picking up as much over the flower, but that's okay. So I'm just touching. And if my ink doesn't run as much as I want, I just squeeze that bulb and get it going more. So the fact that I'm using such a dark color and such bold stamps, I'm only going to get a backwater or a backwash, a washed background, not backwash, a washed background. And so I'm just coloring over my whole area like that. Okay. Now, if it's too wet or you think it's too dark, take another paper towel and just tap it, just blot it, and that will make it lighter. So you can do that and you go, oh, I really liked it darker. Go ahead and go back and add some more color. Okay. So you have freedom when you're using the watercoloring Aquapainters. You don't have to be perfect. Don't try to color inside the lines. It'll just stress you out. Now that's a little bit darker for me, so I'm going to blot that off again. Okay, so you have a lot of control with your watercoloring. Every card will look different, which makes it fun, very artsy, very artistic. Okay, so there you have it. Now look how different that card looks than this card. I did use different color of reinkers, but you still get different effects. So very pretty, very artsy. All right, now we're going to do the next card. And the next card is actually this one. So this is card number 2. And I actually did my stamping first. So let me just show you. I've already stamped so that I can Let me show you the other way. Hold on. I'm going to stamp using my flowers. And I'm just going to randomly stamp some flowers. And so the way that you do this is you're going to stamp, and then you're going to take your Aquapainter and you're just going to squeeze that bulb over it and give it a watercolor wash, okay? Like that. Again, every card will be different, all right? So this is what I did. I stamped several of them and then the leaves, and I did the same thing. I just colored over the flower, the stamped image. Then for the other part of the card, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I did a little outline with a white gel pen from Stampin' Up. And so then I just took the gel pen and just kind of gave it some accents. Like that. I hope you can see it on the video. You'll do the same thing to the leaves. It's a little bit harder to see on the leaves, but so there you go. Okay, so you're going to stamp, take your Aquapainter, muddy it up a little bit, make it look watercolored, and then go back and highlight if you have a gel pen. All right, moving right along. Card number 3 is this card, okay? And I'm going to show you how I did the background. Everybody has a preference for how they like to do the background. And actually, I think I'm going to use, yeah. So I'm just going to squeeze my lid like this and pick up some ink inside my lid. Again. Now, if you have Brand X stamp pads, I don't know if you can do this. I just know you can do it with the Stampin' Up stamp pads. Okay, so then I have that. So the way I'm going to do this card is I'm actually going to spritz water onto my watercolor paper. This was the oval that you got in your kit. And this is going to be, I'm going to get it good and wet. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Aquapainters, squeeze my bulb, make sure it's good and wet, and I'm going to start with my lighter color first, and I'm just going to give it a wash. Okay, if your ink is too dark, you can always lighten it up with more water, or like we did on the first card, you can blot it and take some of that water and that ink off. Okay. I'm just showing you different ways to do watercoloring. It just helps to have a very wet piece of cardstock or your watercolor paper. Have it wet so that you can move that ink all around. Okay? So that's what this will look like when it's dry. All right. The next one, we're actually going to use a Stampin' Up clear block. And to do this technique. This is with watercoloring again, but it gives you a nice area to stamp a bold image on. I'm not doing any stamping on this video. Everybody is going to use their own stamps that they have on hand, and I'm just showing you just the techniques. All right, so I have a piece of watercolor paper for this card, and I have a clear block. I'm going to take and just put a couple of drops of reinker And I'm using two different colors. I'm actually using Pacific Point and Marina Mist, two shades of blue. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take my Aquapainter and I'm just going to blend that or move it around on my block. And I started with the lighter color first. It's okay that I didn't clean off my brush or anything before I went to the darker. Don't stress about that. And I'm just kind of making sure that my whole block is covered all the way to the edges. All right. And then I'm going to stamp with the block. Holding it for just a second, and you can kind of see, you see it bubbling in underneath there. Now, I didn't like that bubbly look, so I took my Aquapainter and I wiped off the brush a little bit, and then I just went in and fixed it. I fixed those bubbly looks. If it's too dark in some places, like right here, just squeeze your Aquapainter and lighten it up. And then you can just kind of push it around like that. It just gives a really cool background effect like this. All right, moving on to the next card. This is your last card in the series. And it was this one, okay? You can use any stamp that you want. I just want to show you how I did the watercoloring in the background. I'm using shimmery white paper for this one. I'm using Melon Mambo ink. I've already put some reinker in the bottom of, in the top of my case, my stamp pad case. Same with the Daffodil Delight. And I've got two Aquapainters, remember, because two come in the kit. Okay, so I'm going to have them both ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that bulb, making sure I have it good and wet. Squeeze that bulb. Oh, I see I have some blue in there. I'll get that out. There we go. So I want to squeeze it until it's good and clear. I'm going to start with my lighter color again. I'm just going to pick up my Daffodil Delight, and I am squeezing my Aquapainter in there. I want to get it good and mixed with a little bit of water. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of a wash on my shimmery white. Again, just a real fun, easy background. I bet you could whip out a ton of cards using this technique. Kind of mix it in a little bit, blending it, and that's it. How easy is that? Now, because I have mixed water in my lid, I'm going to wipe that up. I don't want too much water to go back into my stamp pad case, so I'm going to leave it just like that. I can close it up and it'll be fine. I don't put too much water back in. Okay, congratulations. You've learned 5 different ways of doing watercoloring with stamps, Aquapainters, and reinkers. Hope you enjoyed this series, and we'll see you next time.